Welcome to the Weekend Power Platform podcast, where builders, dreamers, and weekend warriors come to level up. I'm Shawn, and every episode we dive into real stories, smart tips, and the creative magic behind the Power Platform and AI. Let's get into it. Hi, today I'm joined here with Michelle, and I'm excited to talk through, a couple of things. And Michelle and I met a couple of years ago. Actually, I think we tried to connect at Power Platform. I don't know that we actually did connect at Power Platform,
I
but we
think it was there.
stayed in contact. And on one of the summits, I think we finally got a chance to meet. But I've enjoyed watching your journey and all the things that you're up to. And today I thought we would just kind of dive in and talk about a couple of things. Well, welcome, Michelle.
Hmm, Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we met over coffee at Summit 2 years ago, maybe? Was it
I
two
think
years ago?
so.
Might have been.
My
Yes.
favorite thing, coffee.
Yes. Same.
I
Coffee
know.
or wine.
But it's nice to get to meet people that you follow and see on, like, LinkedIn and different places, but then when we have our face-to-face conferences, I love getting to, spend time and meet you.
Yes.
Speaking of that, what is one thing about your journey that people don't see on LinkedIn?
Gosh. I mean, our journeys aren't linear, right? They kind of bounce around, and mine has been that. I've changed my focus and kind of my love of different parts of the community several times over the last couple of years. So it looks like it was kind of a easy progression, but I had a redefining moments multiple times, even within the same company, because I've been with True North almost 8 years. I've had a few different roles there, but moved from consulting to managing and leading to coming up with training and service ideas to now overseeing sales and marketing. So I think the big part, even though you see the titles on LinkedIn, you don't really see kind of the decisions or falling in love with different areas of your career that kind of take you on different paths. So it's not really written. You don't see falling in love with something else and how that transition looks. You just see kind of a title on a screen. So I think that's the big one. Falling in love with different areas of the same products or the same community and finding new purpose.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so you've been there 8 years. So when you started 8 years ago and now you look at, where you're at now, would
Mhm.
you have ever guessed, like, your very first day that in 8 years you would go down this path and be where you're at today?
Absolutely not. Took a big leap. When I came, it was to begin the Business Central team. It didn't exist. So it was, I'm going to take a leap of faith and hope that this works out and that I didn't just, hurt my career in this kind of change. But I didn't always want to lead or to run a company. I was just figuring out who I was and where I was kind of in my career path. So I don't even think I envisioned kind of even being here. I think I would have just been happy being a consultant, but like I mentioned, you fall in love with different things and it takes you on a different path. So, yeah, had no idea. This
Right.
is where I'd be.
Because I've been in NAV and Business Central for several decades, and so
Mhm.
I'm the same, like, I just fell in love with Navision and didn't even think that I would now be leading a support team, and, I'm going on my 3rd decade of NAV and Business Central, and
That's
it's
so fun.
been pretty much the same focus, although I've done, a little bit of
Mhm.
other software, but you just fall
Yeah.
in love with it and go with it, huh?
Yeah, and I think you and I both also have found new love in the Power Platform space as well. I look back now and I'm like, man, if I started on the Power Platform all those years ago or the Dynamics 365 sales side, that would have been so much fun to also see what kind of career that would have been because now I just have such a blast building Power BI reports or tinkering with Canvas apps and just kind of noodling around to see what we can do. And it's fun to kind of just find different areas of interest throughout kind of this process as well.
So I remember the moment when I just fell in love with Power Platform and said, I have to do all of this stuff. Do
Yeah.
you remember the moment when you're like, I have to learn more?
Absolutely. So we have a culture club at True North where we really try to make sure the remote team stays together. So we do fun little activities. One of the things that we wanted to do was a step challenge, counting steps and then putting it all together and seeing, who got the most steps in a month. And I was like, oh, it would be great if we had like a little app to do this. And one of my colleagues was like, oh, I mean, I can help you get started on like a little power app and you can see how it works. And so between them, getting me plugged in and signed in, and then YouTube, this was before I was using like ChatGPT or Copilot or any of the AI tools to really help me through it. So it was hours and hours and hours with YouTube, but figured out how to build my own little Canvas app and use Entra IDs for people to log in and track their steps. And then it was Power BI, getting a Power BI dashboard in there because once you start, you can't stop, right? Like you just keep wanting more. So when I figured that out, I knew I was smitten and just kept diving in even more. And now I've built, I think, 5 or 6 of fun, silly little power apps. A bingo challenge or a hydration challenge, little things. But it's great also because now I can speak about Business Central and relate it to how things like that can be useful, or it can be a bigger use to our clients or to who I'm speaking to because I have a broader knowledge of the different tools and how the whole ecosystem works together. So it's a really great learning path just in general to go in there and play around. Am I ready to do like a, giant app for the Power Platform team? Heck no. Though if someone gave me the challenge, I would never say no.
You would do it.
But it's fun to get started and see what you can do and just kind of realize you still can learn. Like we've been in this so long, like can I still learn new things or am I just doing this because it's what I know? And it's fun to actually go, no, I can still learn new things and become excellent at something else too. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I was at Directions in 2019 and I did this workshop where it was you did Power Flow or Automate, not Power Automate, a Power
Hmm.
App, and then Power BI. So it was like the whole thing from start to finish. And after that, I was like, I need to build some more apps. I've always loved
Yes.
reporting, so that
Yeah.
was nice. One of the things that I did back to your step challenge is I helped my dad manage his cattle business, and so I'm like, I'm gonna build an app, and that's where the cow app
You presented
started.
on that there, right? I was
Yeah,
in that session. That's actually one of the things that got me started on. I wonder if I could do that. Was your session on the cattle app?
yeah. In fact, he just retired when we sold all the cows. So my cow app has been retired, and now I might have to come up with something else. I don't know what that looks like, but I had so much fun because I just took something that you're passionate about and learning and being able to go in and do it. But there's so much
Hmm.
excitement there around that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That was definitely good. So what season of life right now, professionally and personally, do you feel like you're in right now?
It changes on a daily basis.
It's the time of
So,
day, right?
yeah, the time of day, absolutely, and who I talked to on the previous phone call, like, it'll change it. But in personal life, I have 4 kids and two grandbabies, 4 dogs, and, we're always busy. We've got 2 older ones and then 2 little ones. So our youngest 2 are 7 and 5 boys that always have a broken arm or something, stitches, something.
Okay.
So personal life is crazy, but the great thing is that my husband also works in the community. I brought him to the dark side about 4 years ago after he listened to me for probably a decade talking about Microsoft. So he
You can
gets
sense
it.
it.
Yeah, so he gets it, and we're both, we love the community and the products and everything, so we still chat about it even after hours. So it is a Microsoft house. Our kids will probably be consultants because they just hear it all the time. But work life, yeah, always growing, always changing, always trying to be the best version of me at work and in personal. Because one day the best version of me is not as good as the next day or vice versa. So for me, it's the best version that I have at that moment and making sure that I remember that it's okay to not always be the best same, over and over every day. We're gonna have our highs and our lows. Some days are harder than others, but the important thing is find your community that's around you, whoever that is, whether it's coworkers, family, friends, people that we met randomly in the community and still talk to, because that's how you find your high place and helps you find your happy place within your career and your personal life together.
Yeah, that is definitely true, I think. What is the moment that you realized, wow, I'm actually making a difference in an impact in the community? Was there a moment?
Oh, I think after my first session being chosen. I think it was for Dynamics Con a few years ago. And then I was like, this is pretty cool. I kind of like this. And Marie Weiss, who's from Marketing Copilot, was like, that was a great session. You should do that more often. Do you have a blog? Do you post on LinkedIn? And I was like, no, that might be fun. And got back home from that trip and started a blog, started posting on LinkedIn, started getting responses and people following me on LinkedIn, started getting accepted to more sessions and people coming up and saying like, that was really useful. Like, can you send me your slide deck? I want to try this at home. Or do you have any webinars on this? And just, Marie really fueled oh, I wonder if I can do this. Though Oli, our CEO at the company, has told me for years that I could, but I never believed him. I just thought he
Yeah,
was,
just
telling
saying
me
it.
that, but having someone else who had no stake in the game, didn't know me, come up and say that, I was like, "Oh," I mean, I had fun. I didn't know I made an impression, and then it just grew from there. And now I really look forward to every speaking engagement. I think I have 10 or so this year that I'm doing across the Microsoft community, small business community, the MSP community, and I look forward to just going and sharing how this space can change someone's day. I just did an event in DC last week and talked about how Microsoft ecosystem can help connect systems and just gave examples of how we are connecting and fixing things internally at our own company because we're also a small company. We have about 30 people. So it helps resonate with other small companies that Microsoft does work for their size. It doesn't have to be, enterprise level. And it really resonated with people and immediate follow up because they just had not ever heard that you could connect systems in those way. And yeah, it was really meaningful to actually make an impact on other small businesses and help change their day to not be so hard just because we put Copilot in place or we put in, a small power app can completely change their day. And that's a big thing for small companies.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is nice too to just be able to share, like you said, what you're doing in your organization and our customers and being able to share that so they can see that it's not just a blog or a learn document that people look at and think, I don't know if I can make this work. Does this actually work? And now you're here giving examples of, yeah, it does work and this is how we're using it and able to share that with people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had seen Kate Coffee Bacon and Sam Bush speak at, I think it was a Directions right before I actually had done the Dynamics Con event. And I remember thinking, "Oh, I want to do it just like they do." Still remember Kate's shoes and Sam's outfit. And I just remember thinking like, "Man, I wish I could do that." And I had someone come up to me. I did at Community Summit last year, Women in Tech, and I had someone come up to me after and said, "Man, I want to do what you do." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Someone thought that about me after I thought that about, these two
Well,
other rock star women in the communities." It's really fun to just see that it actually does make a difference at the end of the day. It inspires other people.
yeah. Yeah, I like that too, because you're right. You look at other people and you think, they've been doing that. This is perfect. They don't go through these nerves or they don't get that they probably
Yeah.
just wake up and it just rolls out.
Roles.
The
Yeah.
reality is, everybody's
We're still
prepping,
nervous.
everybody's doing stuff, and they probably had that same person that they saw up on stage who, oh, I want to be able to do that. And now
Yes.
you're doing it, Michelle. You're doing it.
Doing it. I think I've done probably 30 speaking engagements over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm still nervous every time. Every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. It means you care. Like, once I came to the consensus, like, "Oh, it means I actually care about doing a good job," it becomes less scary. So anyone who's scared to get up in front of people, just remember, we're all scared, but you'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you my
Yeah.
story. It was like, absolutely, I'm not getting up on stage. I never wanted. Now, I've implemented Business Central. I've trained, I've done all kinds of stuff, but I'm like, I am not getting up. I hate public speaking. And people don't believe that, but I kind of prepped a session for somebody first saw my ERP and that person couldn't present. So someone else in our organization was going to present. And I felt kind of bad. I'm like, do you want me to get up there with you? Because I kind of had helped build this. But then after I said that, I'm like, I don't want to get up there. And I did it and it was really a lot of fun. It was luckily that it was a real small group. So I feel like that was more intimate and stuff. And now I've only done maybe a handful of sessions and I still feel like I have a lot to learn, but I still get up there and present, and it always feels really good to share your ideas and things that you're doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is not necessarily easy, but we do it
Yeah. Yeah. And
easier.
you get so much back in return. You get so much back. You get people interacting with you and giving you new ideas, or even just the feeling of being able to help one person in any session. It is so much, we gain so much more than what we give out in those types of things. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, that's how I kind of started the Weekend Power platform because I've been doing Saturday morning with Power BI for many years. And one day I told Belinda, I said, I'm sorry I haven't been able to come to Power BI because I've been learning doing Power Platform. And she's like, you need a group. And so that's how Weekend Power Platform came together. And now we get on and we talk about different things. Sometimes it's Copilot, sometimes it's Power. Sometimes it's Business Central, but we just come together and share what we've been building and doing. And that's for me, that's what really kind of keeps me going and doing the podcast and being able
Absolutely.
to share everything. It is the community.
Yes. Yeah. Learn so much from them. I love that you can put out a question on like LinkedIn or chats with people that you've met, once or twice and maybe in person, but become close over the interwebs, and everyone's so open to sharing information. I think that's one of my favorite things about this community. If you ask for help, you don't get silence because they want to keep it to themselves. Everyone is so open about sharing everything. I think that's so special.
Yeah. I think you're right too. It's like just helping and yeah. You want to put it out there because probably what you're going through, somebody else might be going through it. And sometimes you'll
Absolutely.
get, different perspectives of things and yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do love that about the community.
It's a
It's
special place.
yeah. So we'll shift the gear a little bit from community and helping, but, what's
Yeah.
the biggest shift you've seen in how companies think about revenue in AI in the new era, messy era, whatever we're in right now?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, AI in general can either really excite people or really scare them. Even just reading it on a sign we saw in DC, because we had talked about AI, on the sign, and people were like, "What do you mean AI? What do you mean AI with my small business? What can it do?" And and it doesn't change even when you make it more specific around revenue, and how you're generating your revenue, or even how you're calculating that revenue, right? Because it can be either end of the spectrum. For me, I look at it both ways because I'm trying to keep track of our revenue. I oversee revenue at True North. And so I'm trying to utilize AI to help give me trends, things that I might be missing or that we've never calculated before. It's been a really big part of building some of the tools that we're using internally now. But also, how are we building services that we offer to our clients around AI? Because this probably sounds terrible, you don't want to be the first person to do it, but you don't wanna be the last, right? So you've gotta find the right timing to
You go
introduce those
right
types
and
of
go right in the
services.
middle.
Yes, exactly, exactly. The right timing and the right things. You wanna grow your business, but you don't wanna step too far out of what you're comfortable doing, because then you won't be successful either. So it's a really interesting playing field right now, trying to figure out where you wanna land in the AI sphere and what's right for you or your business at that time. So it's really interesting to see kind of how people are adopting it and giving it to their clients or integrating it with their clients. So starting slow or just going the full shebang, and getting everyone on everything, that it
Yeah,
changes
you
every
wanna be
day.
that bleeding edge, cutting edge, just dull edge.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and that will change too with the company size, right? Larger companies can take bigger risks. Smaller companies have to be a little bit more calculated. It really drastically changes kind of your path depending on your company size and what you're looking to achieve.
And do you think kinda, customers and what they're asking for and wanting is kinda driving some of that too? Or is it
Yes and no. So it's at least for us it's interesting because we either get the people who are like, I only want AI. Give me an ERP that is fully AI driven so I don't have to do anything. And it's like, are you sure you want that far? Or we'll get people that are like, I don't want Copilot inside of Business Central. It doesn't need to be there. I don't want AI. It's so funny how you get like such ends of the spectrum of what people are asking for. But we're starting to see it kind of balance out where we actually are getting just Copilot in general. They're not even looking for ERP or Dynamics 365. They want Copilot agents and they need help getting those in place. So it's changed even over just, this new year, what people are looking for with AI. It seems to be less scary for people, so that's a good change.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we kinda did, like, a little shift or something where into this year,
Yeah.
people like, "Okay, last year was so scary, no one wanted to," and now, like, it's
Mhm.
just starting to roll and people are starting to use it more and more. I think in personal life and then in business too, where it's becoming not as
Absolutely.
the unknown.
I think part of it too was AI would be presented as like this grandiose concept, like do all these amazing giant things. And there was a shift in the communication of it doesn't have to be grand. It can actually be something that's really simple. So something that I found that people really respond well to is even just the new agents inside of Business Central saying like, if you have a client send over a quote in your Outlook, there's an agent in Business Central that can see that email come in. It identifies your customer from the contact that's on there. It identifies your items from the descriptions and the quantities, and it can create that quote. And you can either have it sent out or you can put it in a workflow for you to review it. But that's AI for you. You're taking out that human step of doing all those processes manually. And that's an easy enough concept for them to understand and not be so scared. I can put a workflow so it doesn't go out automatically. I can look at it first. Oh, great. It becomes something that's not so big and scary. It becomes smaller. I can understand what the value is of that, and it's manageable. So I think the shift of talking about it having to be something so gigantic or so life changing to just something that makes that process easier helps people understand AI a little bit better. And then once they're in there, then they can get big and grand, right? Because it can do so many more things, but it's not so foreign of a concept anymore.
Yeah, and I think you're right too, because we've done a couple of these where, yeah, you're right. Everybody wants everything automated in this agent, and people try to do that, and then it's too big. They fail. They don't get buy-in. They didn't start with this little baby step to where people could see. To your point, they see these little things coming in, and it's not automatic. There's a workflow. There's
Absolutely.
some automation that we can add to it, and sometimes it really is people think they want agents and all of this stuff, and it really is just a power automate. I don't wanna say
Right.
just, but, it's like one little thing there can save people tons of time and money, and they start
Tons of
seeing the
time.
value there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you keep your teams aligned when everything is moving so fast?
Oh, we have a strong internal group of leaders that have kind of grown together over the last couple of years. And we've worked very, very hard to have open communication between us. I think that's a big part of keeping the teams aligned and just making sure that everything's cohesive. Because if you have disconnected sales from marketing, from the delivery and consulting team to, project management support, anything, one disconnection really throws off everything, right? And usually the first people to feel that are the clients. And that's never good because then it will affect more. So I think having a really strong base of people who are leading the teams is important to make sure that they're taking the responsibility of open communication amongst themselves and then passing it down to the teams. If you see leaders that are disconnected and not working well together, those teams are naturally not going to get along. So putting on kind of the purposeful communication is really, really important, but also just having frameworks in place. I hate SOPs and the fact that I don't want to stifle anyone with a specific rule that they have to follow. But having something like a framework in place of these are the bare minimums of what we need to accomplish, like a specific communication plan, but have the autonomy to make the creative decisions in between of how you handle something is much easier because we all have different personalities and different ways of working, but
That's
still
true.
sets up guidance of what the requirements are to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
To be very purposeful. But yeah, it's been working. It's been a transition, but it's been working really well. I think our teams are actually much closer than they've ever been, and communicate more freely and openly with each other, which has been great. Because who likes the disconnected sales from delivery? That's like the worst. Sales sells one thing, delivery says heck no. We never want that.
Yeah.
Never pretty. Yes.
And that has happened for many years, right?
Many years. And it will always happen. There's going to be changes in teams or changes in processes or just accidents. But when you establish that open communication, it becomes less threatening to then solve the problem because it's not something all the time. Like, oh, they always do that. It's one-offs. So everyone's more willing to kind of look past it and move forward. Just makes the day a lot easier.
Right.
No one likes intercompany arguments, right? So it's a big part of the day is making sure that we set up the team to be successful together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there is too a lot of like more collaboration. And because we have the tools, like sharing what each department's doing, and then you start realizing, like,
Absolutely.
oh, we can use this across the organization. If this works in this department, it might work in that one. And just having that. Yeah, I think you're right. The key is communication, but just seeing that collaboration between the departments has been a
Yes. Yeah, and it really hurts the business when you don't. I mean, if you think about the things that one team knows and the other doesn't, even when it comes to things like having enough work to go around, right? If delivery isn't communicating to sales what they need or when they're concerned about their forecasts, how is sales ever going to deliver exactly what they need? And so that's where you start getting just issues with how a business functions or the sales that they need when you just don't communicate between the two.
right. Right. Well, we talked about mom life a little bit. I mean, you are
Yeah,
big.
busy.
It's like one boundary or something that you have learned that you've set and you protect.
I'm terrible with boundaries. And the team at work is probably listening to this, like laughing at me because I'm the worst. Because I really
No, I
love the
feel very
company
good
and my
now.
job. So, like, I'm very terrible at boundaries. But at the end of the day, my non negotiable is my kids and my husband and our dogs, right? So, if there's an emergency, I'm off the phone. A few years, gosh, was it a year ago? California had the terrible fires. The Pacific Palisades burned, and then here in our hometown, we had a fire. It was, I don't know, 100-mile-per-hour winds, and that's crazy for where I'm at. And a fire traveled 8 miles and caught my dad and mom's neighborhood on fire. We got a phone call at I think 9 in the morning, and they said, "Yeah, there's a fire like 10 miles away. Like, just keep your phones on if you don't mind, just in case." Like, it had not burned where they were since like the 60s or 70s, so they weren't that concerned. But it was really windy. I think we all just had a feeling, right? Something bad was coming. And at 9:20, they're like, it's getting dark. Can you just maybe come and get they work from home, they're a real estate agent and a lawyer, so they have all their files and things at home and their cats. Like, can you just help us like pack up maybe the files? And I was like, yeah, I let me get off my meeting. My husband and I both went up there and we got there at like 9:45. By 10:15, the neighborhood was on fire. And we had to completely evacuate. I think over 200 homes were burned in their neighborhood. Thankfully, only part of theirs did, but there was not one question from work of where I was, because I was gone for the next 3 days because everything burned. Like, the town was no one had places to live. Thankfully, it didn't get as close to our house, but I was out unexpectedly for days. There was not one question. And so it was an unspoken boundary of there's an emergency, I'm not here. And it's really important to the company that those types of things aren't ever a question. So thankfully they make that boundary easy, but emergencies are never acceptable. They're the non-negotiable. Broken arm again, I'm gone. So, yes, you have to set those types of boundaries of what you are willing and not willing to give up. So, I travel quite a bit for speaking engagements. So, I have boundaries on, I leave actually tomorrow to go on a Disney cruise. So, making sure to take that time in return of I'm gone. So, I'm going to take some extra time,
Yeah. And
work
enjoy
hard and play hard.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
we actually had the speaking engagement we were supposed to meet. And I remember I went up there because I was coming from San Diego. But I knew a lot of times I mean, a lot of it was like, "Are you coming?" We had a couple of customers that were
Yeah.
planning on coming and they didn't.
Mhm.
I still went up there, but yeah, it was just amazing to even
Yeah.
just be around LA around that time too.
Yes. Yeah. I think the freeways were closed. I couldn't even get down there.
Right.
And I actually, when I flew back from DC the other day, I took the Pacific Coast Highway where the fires were. And I mean, there's hundreds of houses gone. It was the first time I drove past because I couldn't emotionally do it, but traffic was terrible as it is in Southern California. So I took that way home. And yep, it's crazy how quickly the blink of an eye,
Yeah,
everything can be gone.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're going on a Disney cruise. That'll be
Can't wait. Yes. Yeah. A nice quick one,
I know
but
you
it'll
go
be
on like
great. Yeah. Yep. Quick 3-day one. I leave from San Diego, go to Catalina Island and then Ensenada in Mexico, and then come right back. But great for the 7 and 5-year-olds. They wouldn't want to be gone longer than that.
that'll be
Yeah, it'll
fun.
be fun.
I almost did that one. Now my kids are kinda grown, but they still my oldest daughter's been on a Disney cruise, so we were talking about doing a cruise, and they're 23 and
Yeah,
28, and they
that's
wanna
great.
go on a Disney cruise.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
You're
great.
never too old for Disney cruise.
No, no, and it's as magical as Disneyland is. I mean, they just spoil you rotten, and, yeah, it's a great we did it the same exact cruise almost to the day 2 years ago, and, it's there's nothing like it.
So the other question I was gonna ask you is how do you stay grounded when expectations are high in every direction? And I'm thinking I'll answer for you, Disney cruise. That's how
Disney
you stay
cruise.
grounded.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and, like, in full transparency, right now is really busy at work. I have a manager that left, so I'm trying to fulfill that role. We're trying to grow, we're trying to change how we do things, there's travel. So today was a rough day, just really busy because I'm going on vacation. I'm stressed about getting things done, but at the end of the day, gosh, I had one coworker who told me he's great. He's actually the one who convinced me to go on Disney cruises. He said, at the end of the day, we're not doing open heart surgery. We're not. It might feel like it sometimes the pressure is on, but we have to remember we're not on that surgeon. So I try to remember that in those big moments and then just think about how much I actually love it on the days where it's not as stressful. And yes, Disney cruises and wine.
Mhm. I think I say that same thing too, where it's not like open heart surgery, it's not brain I mean, it's like
Yeah.
it's not what we're doing, and sometimes it feels like the weight of that, like we're in the operating room, but at the end of the day, it's like it's systems, it's data, it's you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
To the customer who might be down, it might feel a little bit different. They've got the pressures of everything, but we work through it. One of my favorite managers when I first started actually in the vision, she was my manager at the time, and she said the best thing that you can do, and this is when you know you're a good leader and you're doing a good job, is when you can walk away and go on vacation. That's when you
Absolutely.
know that your team has it and it's gonna work out and you're comfortable being
Mhm.
able to do that. So I
Yes.
always kinda keep that in mind where it's like, yeah, you have to be able to
Absolutely.
refresh and get those days out, even if it's just 1 or 2 days, even if it's just a
Absolutely.
short break to recharge and re-energize.
Absolutely. We joke because the last few vacations that team members have taken, at least on the sales group, they'll have like a quote that is one that maybe was sitting out there for months and the client randomly signs. And it has happened like 3 or 4 times now. They go on vacation and they get like a signed quote while they're gone. And we're like, man, do we all need to start like rotating vacations? So I'm hoping since it's Disney, it's extra magical and that I don't have any quotes out, but we're hoping at least, one from each person gets
Yeah, you'll
signed
come back
while I'm
on
out.
Monday and yeah, you'll have all these
Yeah.
signed contracts.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Cause on the boat, I'm not going to get Wi Fi. So I make sure that I disconnect. So I'm hoping some nice, exciting news when we get back and have Wi Fi again to see all those winds come through. So we'll put that out there in the
And
atmosphere.
yeah, just put that out in the universe and it will happen.
Yes. Exactly.
So, just a couple more things. So, what is one shift you think is coming in the next 12 to 18 months that people aren't ready for?
Gosh, I mean, I think AI is going to be a big part of it. I know that probably sounds like such a broken record, but it changes your day so much. And I think we won't be ready for it sometimes in a bad way and sometimes in a good way, right? I mean, AI can replace so many things that we're doing. Not that it's going to replace us. We still need humans to do it. But I mean, the other day I started using Claude, which I've just been having way too much fun with.
Same.
But I was creating a campaign and about the new features that are coming out and different ideas of how to get people to update things like their financial reports and built pricing models and calculators and all kinds of different things. I literally recorded myself on Claude talking about what I was trying to achieve, created all of these documents for me, pricing plans, the margin analysis for our CFO to look at all the things. It took me probably 2 or 3 hours to put together even, scripts and example documents so the sales team knew what to do and cheat sheets for the consulting team to be able to use to do it quickly. And I mean, it had to be less than 3 hours. It would have taken me weeks before to do all of those pieces. Now I have to validate everything still. Like my big piece of advice to anyone, always validate because at least one thing's going to be wrong, right? But that's a positive change in how AI replaced something that I did. So it really changed just even how efficient I can be. And so I think we're not all ready or realizing how AI will do those tasks, but not always in a bad way are we not ready. It's just we haven't even expanded the concepts of understanding what it can undertake, right? And that's such a small version of what it can do. But yeah, I know that sounds like such a broken record answer. AI always seems to be the thing that people talk about, but it is true. I mean, just the little changes that have been coming out recently make such a difference in our day. For the better, I think. Some things are for the worse. I feel like I don't use all of my brains the same way, but some days I don't want to use all my brains, so it's helpful.
Days right. Because you're dreaming of the Disney cruise now.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I like that too. Because when you're rolling out something, I love having that documentation as well. Because that's the piece where I feel like does take a lot of time and then people don't wanna do it, and it's a lot.
yes.
The thing
Yeah,
that you could come up with the idea, run it through, and then have the documentation, but, you're right, like, testing it and
exactly.
making sure it works, but to just have that, like, "Oh, wow, this would have taken me 2 or 3 days to write all this procedure down that,
Exactly.
now I have," right?
Yep. And it makes it so easy to be iterative on what you're doing. Like if you want to make small tweaks, you're not going in and like no, you put in the concept of what you want to adjust and it helps you adjust that. Or I'm building these big Power BI dashboards that's bringing information from we eat our own dog food. So we use Business Central and we do sales and customer service. And so, sometimes those tables are just terrible trying to figure out what we're doing. And I don't write DAX queries. I was definitely more on the consulting, the functional side than the developing side, right? And that was in Business
Right.
Central, not in Power BI. And so, explaining the concepts of what I'm trying to achieve in there, giving it, the list of the different tables or different fields that we've customized in there, or even exports of the files that I'm pulling from there, and explaining those concepts I want. And it gives me a full mapping of my Power BI dashboard. And then I don't know how to do something. So I ask it to explain, the steps of how do I actually add in a table? I don't remember today. I mean, that fundamentally changes what I'm able to actually produce in my role. And then translating that to the consulting side, we can onboard new features or new things that we're capable of doing as individuals so much more easily than just a few years ago. So, I mean, it changes the game
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely some exciting times, I think. Well, we're coming to an end, and I know we could probably talk forever, and I promised you we would
forever.
stop we'd have a hard stop. What is one advice or one thing that you can give the listeners or something for us to try in our weekend power platform team?
Remember to have fun. So while you're trying out the new things, whether it's for work or for pleasure, find something that will just, will bring you joy, like your dad's cattle business and that app that you created. It probably brought you joy being able to do something that made your dad's life easier, right? Find something that brings you joy to help you learn something new because it will come so much more naturally when you're enjoying the process instead of it being something that you're forced into doing. So that, I mean, for me, that's the easiest way to learn. Find something that will make you happy and then learn it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, as you can tell, because that's what I do too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for today.
Thank
We had
you.
so much to talk about, and I'm
Thank you for
excited
having
for
me.
your Disney cruise.
Thank
Get
you.
to see you maybe at a couple of conferences this year. I've got a couple booked as
Yeah.
well, but if
Yeah,
not,
well, at Directions, I think we're both
direction.
there, so we'll see each other in just a few short weeks, and thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
And, yeah, we could probably do this for, like, 2 more hours without
yeah,
taking a
yeah.
breath,
We'll
but
do another session. We'll do another session. All right. Thank
yes,
you,
yeah.
Michelle.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.